This is what I do. Yeah. Ivan.
Ready to slay.
Bum, bum, bum. Listen. Bum, bum, bum. Not your ordinary bum, 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 bum. Show me I put a fist in. Yeah. Yeah. Yo. Did you know we in the end? And just watch the deeds of men and match it to what's written. Guarantee you see it vivid. Count down the final minutes. Hands of time been ticking since the first vixen figured out her body captured victims. Yeah, spirits transformed and rejected first estates just to get themselves a taste. Put their husbands' lives to waste. Taught them cutting up roots, every shade of mascara, and to use words to cast spells. Abracadabra. Then giants was born, some deformed like the Cyclops. A lot of religious groups tell pro psych. Infiltrated from within, making deals to gain ends, and only thing gained in the end is gone with the wind. So their soul for the wind, consolation now acquired when you summon and required, beating cats to the fire. Especially a liar, not who hides it or denies it, but those that's malicious cook up rumors that's delicious. The days of Noah, history repeated, no surprises when it show up if you took the time to read it. You in delusion if you think there's nothing coming. Be aware, get prepared for what's destined, gonna need it. The days of Noah, history repeated. No surprises when it show up if you took the time to read it. You in delusion if you think there's nothing coming. Be aware, get prepared for what's destined, gonna need it. Overwhelming amounts of evil accounts and wickedness. The creator said he's sick of this. These giants are ridiculous. But in the midst of all of this, one was found worthy. The favor as the favor had his family for the journey. A copy's in Kentucky, right down to the Pacific side. The plane only boat cross Atlantic or Pacific. Use logic, don't be twisted by the words of the subtle. That's the reason why the whole earth found itself in trouble. Then they ate the flesh of men abusing fish, bestiality, pedophiles in your families and all up in your church. Place your leader during service while you rushing early nervous, wearing costumes like that really serves a purpose. The mission deem you worthless, no blessings, don't deserve it. Old friends of mine want to see me massacred and murdered. Oh well, something unheard of. Love of many waxing so cold, ready for action without distraction. Go, the days of Noah, history repeated. No surprises when it show up if you took the time to read it. You in delusion if you think there's nothing coming. Be aware, get prepared for what's destined, gonna need it. The days of Noah, history repeated. No surprises when it show up if you took the time to read it. You in delusion if you think there's nothing coming. Be aware, get prepared for what's destined, gonna need it. He was locked in, all of the instructions to the letter. It was sunny, then suddenly instant change of the weather. The dome was made open and the deeps was broken up. As it rised, all those lives ain't survived was choking up. When it stopped, then they settled, it was time to repopulate. But the energy remained in, and bother retained. Then the tower to confound them in the land of confusion. And the showers that devoured, leaving 5 cities fuming. Ages kept adding numbers to the present 2000s. You won't make it out breathe unless you rooted and grounded. Desecration of the covenant. Everywhere you see Skittles, gotta speak in parables so the wicked won't catch the riddle. If you like to play the middle, carry on as lukewarm. When the forces manifest and swarm, drop you where you belong. Anyone.
Peace, salute. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That was Days of Noah off of 3 Quarters, available exclusively at www.iamterrible.life. I'm going to continue. We're going to continue with the topic from last week, All Roads Lead to Rome, Part 2, dealing with the rich. And I left off last week with an individual, and we're going to continue going into more details with this individual. But before we get into that, let's continue with showing the connection between ancient Rome and what we see in America today. So let us begin. So we see the caption: did the Romans and Greeks really enjoy orgies? That is the question. Did the Romans and Greeks really enjoy orgies? This is a still shot from a picture, a still shot picture from a movie, should I say, entitled Caligula, which I believe was in 1976. That is the actress Helen Mirren. And this is a still shot from the movie Caligula. Based on the Emperor of Rome, Caesar at that time, Caligula. The movie is kind of it's not for the weak. It's definitely not for the weak. But it gives you a lot of insight of what was going on. And let's read about it. Let's look at the mind state and the mentality. So it says homosexuality in ancient Rome often differs markedly from the contemporary West. Latin lacks words that will precisely translate homosexual or heterosexual. The primary dichotomy of ancient Roman sexuality was active, dominant, masculine, and passive, submissive, feminine. So basically, there's a male that plays the part of the masculine, the one that's the dominant, more domineering. And then the passive, submissive would be the feminine. The man that behaves effeminately. Roman society was patriarchal, and the freeborn male citizen possessed political liberty, libertas, and the right to rule both himself and his household, familia. Virtue, virtus, was seen as an active quality through which a man, defined himself. The conquest mentality and cult of virility shaped same-sex relations. Roman men were free to enjoy sex with other males without a perceived loss of masculinity or social status as long as they took the dominant or penetrative role. Let that sit for a minute. Acceptable male partners were slaves and former slaves, prostitutes, and entertainers whose lifestyle placed them in the nebulous social realm of infamia. So they were excluded from the normal protections afforded to a citizen, even if they were technically free. Freeborn male minors were off limits at certain periods in Rome. So at certain periods, but then at another period, it was okay, I guess. Right? Let's continue on. Which is the same The same spirit and the same everything that we see today. It's a mirror of what was done in ancient Rome. So this is a continuation again of All Roads Lead to Rome. We're going to be touching on the rich billionaires, and again show this correlation of Rome with what we see today, present. Okay. Continuing on. Same-sex relations among women are far less documented. And if Roman writers are to be trusted, female homoeroticism may have been very rare, to the point that Ovid in the Augustine era describes it as unheard of. However, there's scattered evidence, for example, a couple of spells in the Greek magical papyri, which attest to the existence of individual women in Roman-ruled provinces in the later imperial period who fell in love with members of the same sex. So while they say that it's unheard of, and while they say that there's scattered evidence, we still see the evidence that it was happening. It wasn't just the men that were doing this, it was the women as well. And for those that read the Holy Word, you see that within the book of Romans. Chapter 1, it tells you about women leaving the natural use of a man to deal with another woman, and men burning in their lust towards another man. That was written in the book of Romans because that was taking place in ancient Rome. During the Republic, a Roman citizen's political party, libertas, was defined in part by the right to preserve his body from physical compulsion, including both corporal punishment and sexual abuse. Roman society was patriarchal. See paterfamilias. And masculinity was premised on a capacity of governing oneself and others of lower status. Virtus, valor, as that which made a man most fully a man, was among the active virtues. Sexual conquest was a common metaphor for imperialism in Roman discourse. And the conquest mentality was part of a cult virility that particularly shaped Roman homosexual practices. So the whole idea of conquering someone, being a conqueror, taking something by force. Roman ideals of masculinity were thus premised on taking an active role that was also, as Craig A. Williams has noted, the prime directive of masculine sexual behavior for Romans. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, scholars have tended to view expressions of Roman male sexuality in terms of a penetrator-penetrated binary model. That is, the proper way for a Roman male to seek sexual gratification was to insert his penis into his partner. Allowing himself to be penetrated threatened his liberty as a free citizen, as well as his sexual integrity. So it's okay in their eyes. In ancient Rome, it was okay for them to do the penetrating, but for them to be penetrated was not right. They couldn't do it. And this is what's written in regards to the lifestyle of ancient Rome, which we see America is the new Rome, the land of bread and circuses by Perry Stone. which is a saying that was said by one of Rome's poets. If you give them bread and circuses, they will never revolt. A lot of you going to have bread and some circus tomorrow with the Super Bowl. It's just the facts. Again, if you believe, praise God. If you don't, praise God. You have your liberty. All I'm doing is presenting evidence, and it's up to you, the viewer, whether or not you believe or you don't. If you want to seek further and dig deeper, you can do that. If you want to build, we can do that too. Okay. I'll put the email up for a second. And yeah, we can build on it. So all I'm doing, as I do with all the episodes, is present my case, present my evidence, and leave it up to you, the viewer, to see whether or not you agree or you disagree. You have your liberty. Yeah. Yep. So let's read about something that one of these emperors did to his dominated male counterpart, who took on the role of being the submissive one. How a teenage boy named Sporus became empress of Rome under Nero's rule. So there's an article published in August of 2020. After Emperor Nero allegedly kicked his second wife, Sabina, to death in 65 AD, he met a slave boy named Sporus who looked like her. So to this man, Nero, after he killed his wife, kicked her to death, he met a slave boy named Sporus who looked like her. So Nero had him castrated and took him as his bride. By the way, this is a fact. You can look it up. Every emperor of Rome was into this lifestyle. Every emperor of Rome was into this lifestyle. There's just some cases that are a little bit more bizarre than others, and this one is one of them. This one is definitely one of them. It still takes place today. It goes on today. You have the sister Candace Owens with her evidence that she's presented on the president of France, and his wife is actually a natural male. So this is not something that is new. This is not something that just started. Again, there's nothing new under the sun. This has been going on for a long time. A very long time. Let's continue about Sporus. He was a beautiful Roman youth who caught the eye of the reigning emperor, Nero Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, or just Nero. Unlike those figures of myth who endured a tragic fate, Sporus and his story are very real. Sporus was said to bear powerful resemblance to the late Empress Poppaea Sabina. And so Emperor Nero, a self-proclaimed demigod, he's a very important figure as far as a Caesar in his time. Had the boy castrated and married him as a replacement for his lost love, the lost love that he killed, that he murdered. Think about that. While some say it's not true, it's a theory in regard to a particular president, that his wife is really a husband. I'll let that sit for a minute. This particular president is also a part of the Bush dynasty and was set up to be a president and to have his skin complexion used as a tool for the naive and the simple that follow after colorism. So I'll continue. But Sporus's life as Empress of Rome was far less glamorous than it sounds, and he ultimately took his own life at the tragically young age of 20. This is the tragic story of a boy who became the Empress of Rome. Yep. So while there's some that wrestle with it and think that it's a conspiracy theory, again, I'll say it over and over again, because as many times as you heard it to brainwash you, you need to hear it over and over again to detox you. That conspiracy and theory are two different words, and they mean nothing to each other than what was done to make them become one word. But they're two different words. For you to have a conspiracy, that means there's people conspiring. When you look up conspire, there's never anything righteous. Nobody conspires anything good. All conspiracies, everything that's conspired with two or more people coming together to devise something malevolent, something malicious towards another person or another group of people, is a conspiracy. That is to conspire. That's a conspiracy. The theory is an educated guess. So what they try to do is make it one word that someone put the pieces of the puzzle together, but you don't have the facts, so it's a theory. It's just your guess. But again, you have the evidence. It's being presented, and it's up to you to make your decision whether you believe it or you don't. And the beauty of it is that you have your liberty. You can choose not to believe it. And that's all right too. But I'm still going to share the information. And again, if you knew this information, if you know this, I applaud you. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing if you know this information already. All right? Definitely. It is a beautiful thing. This is for those that may not know or may have heard, but didn't have nothing shown to them, and now they're able to see it for themselves, or they never heard before, and, you know, it's intriguing enough for them to continue to study and research, or for them to pass up and say, you know what, I don't believe this. And again, that's the beauty of freedom. So continuing on. Nero was said to have had incestuous relationships with his mother, the dominant Agrippina the Younger, with Suetonius recording that he even desired illicit relations with his own mother and was kept from it by her enemies, who feared that such a relationship might give the reckless and insolent woman too great influence. Was notorious, especially after he added to his concubines and a courtesan who was said to look very like Agrippina. So he found a concubine that looked like his mother. So he couldn't get her as he wanted and to have all the time as he wanted. So he found someone that looked like her, like he did in regards to his wife. He beat his wife, killed her, kicked her to death, and then found a man, a young man, a boy, had him castrated, and made him dress up like his deceased wife, the empress. That's Nero. But in 59 AD, and again, these dates are suspect. A lot of these dates are suspect because they tampered with time and played with time and added time and taken time away. So a lot of these dates and numbers are very suspect. The history is accurate for the most part. I say for the most part, depending on things that they left out or things that they embellish. So again, but in 59 AD, Nero murdered his mother. Historians believe the emperor committed matricide because Agrippina objected to his affair with Sabina, who Nero later married in 62 AD. So why some may be thinking, why am I just focused on this story? Is all the emperors did this? But this one I said is a little bit more bizarre, especially with the acts that were done that he did in offering his wife, a real woman, to get a boy and then castrate the boy to play the role of his wife. Juvenal is the poet. Give them bread and circuses and they will never revolt. And this world is a big circus. It's a big stage. It's a big show. They give the people what they cry for and demand for, appease them, and then they stay quiet till it's time for them to cry out again, and then they give them something else. And in the meantime, in between time, give them some award shows and some sports championship games and things of that nature. You said it. All right. So let's continue. One second, please. Let me get this going. So yeah. Yep. So we're gonna go and continue on with Peter Nygaard with the video that I shared last week, and then one second, y'all. My bad. Trying to get this file open. It's giving me a little, see if it opens up now. There we go. All right. So we left off last week with the dude, this guy right here, Peter Niceguard. And y'all seen the video. You seen what he said, what he was discussing with the other billionaire, Steve Powers, how they were offering melanated women an amount of money to be able to harvest their eggs and their placentas and umbilical cords after birth or from an abortion and all kind of craziness. So you can refer to the first episode of this, which is All Roads Lead to Rome, the first one, and it's the last clip. And we're continuing on right now with this individual. So you see, this is from CBC News, which is from Canada. Toronto, sexual predator Peter Niceguard sentenced to 11 years for 4 counts of sexual assault. With credit for time served, Niceguard will serve just under 7 years in prison. So this was just in September 2024. Let's continue. Let's continue. So this guy is interesting with the story. Very interesting. Let's continue. So this is the guy, man. This is him. Billionaire. And again, serving time for being a sexual predator. This is something that this individual is still active in, even being arrested and all of that. That's the nature. Once the nature is already displayed and shown, you can't argue it. You can't say that, you know, that's something they'll change from. Just look at the mindset. This is from 11 years ago. Peter Niceguard boasts possible immortality in Bahamas. You seen the video? I might have to put the video in again. Former Winnipeg fashion icon makes stem cell research claims from Bahamas. So he basically went out there and influenced the government, paid him off. You know, to be able to open a facility and to conduct these experiments, quote unquote, research. And can you just imagine how many people looking for help, desperate, that will be willing to do anything for the love of money? So let's continue. A former Winnipeg fashion icon is making bold claims about finding a modern-day fountain of youth. Peter Nygaard is featured in a YouTube video claiming stem cell technology being developed in the Bahamas is making him look and feel younger. 70-year-old designer moved from Winnipeg to the Bahamas several years ago, where he launched a biotech company and hired 4 scientists to do work on stem cell technology. He also lobbied the local government to create legislation that will further his research. Now, Nygaard claims he is reverse aging. Look at my before and after pictures, he says in the video. I've gone from anti-aging to reverse aging. According to Nygaard, his doctors made a scientific breakthrough and turned his skin cells into embryonic stem cells. From the woman's egg, we took out her DNA, put my old 70-year-old DNA in its place, and it grew into vitro, he says in the video. I may be the only person in the world who has my own embryonic stem cells growing in a petri dish. What do you think? Let's continue. Yeah, that's a fact. Let's continue. Then Nygaard makes his boldest claim. This is huge. This is a game changer. This could eliminate all diseases. This perhaps is immortality, he says. Trying to achieve something. The cheating way. But University of Manitoba ethics professor Arthur Schaefer has his doubts. He has been following stem cell research since scientists first cloned a sheep in the late 1990s. There's no magic stem cell cocktail that you can drink or inject into your arm that will make you look younger or healthier or that will help you live longer, he said. So he must not be informed of adrenochrome. The Holy Word tells you that life is in the blood. That's why it's forbidden from God for a person to eat blood, because there's life in the blood. Tell that to a person that gets a blood transfusion. Someone that needs blood. There's life in the blood. Schaefer said there's an ethical debate around the use of stem cells as well. He said he fears a day when the stem cell science becomes the sole domain of the wealthy to enhance their physical and mental abilities, and that I agree with him on. Money. The elite, the rich, they get bored and they just come up with ideas and things to do. This is what these smart cities are about as well, to keep an eye and constant surveillance over the people that live in the city, to control their travel distance and how far they travel. It's all about control. The rich, the elite want to have control over everyone else that's not a part of that group. The use of stem cell technology to create Supermen and Wonder Women has many people feeling uneasy, he said. Schaefer said despite his concerns, Nygaard's video could spark important debate on the ethics of using stem cells for a variety of purposes. Let's continue. He's not the only one, though. There's others. There's this, there's only a few that come forward like this and show themselves. Let's continue. So the BBC reported on it. Bahamas. Billionaire claims he is getting younger. And again, this was 11 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, bro. You got the money. There's nobody that denies you. Let's continue on. So that's him in the Bahamas. When you have a person that is materialistic and vain, and all they desire is vanity, that's all they desire is vanity. They will do anything for money. Anything. And this is who he's targeting, as was said in the video, which I'm gonna get the video back. I'm gonna get the video back. I'm gonna put it back up. One second. One second. There we go. I want to play this video one more time. So you can see for yourself. One second. One second. I got frozen over here real quick. One second. Okay, here we go. Got frozen a second. There we go. All right. Let me bring it back in. There we go. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second, y'all. Getting a little technical difficulty over here. Let me try this again. I'm here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get it together. There we go. There we go. All right.
And takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. It just go ahead and take it off. Painful, Is it painful? Jesus. Yeah, and this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. Negroes have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg. $100? Monkey.
Look at their faces, how they disgusting.
How much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500. Whoever I bid, he's going to outbid me.
It changes when he says 60,000.
If you have abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, and placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. When you're regarded as waste, and it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody else.
So now you see why he's around these type of melanated women. All right. Let's continue. Sorry for the difficulties right there. It happens. But salute for sticking it through. And let's continue on. A billionaire fashion designer says scientists have found a way to reverse his aging process, it seems. Bahamas resident Peter Nygaard says he is receiving stem cell therapy and that a study from the University of Miami suggests he is getting younger, the Bahamas Tribune reports. They are looking at me and my markers have shown exactly that I have been actually reversing my aging and getting younger, the 70-year-old says. He adds, I'm taking perhaps more stem cell treatment than anybody else in the world. I have been doing it for 4 years now, so I'm sort of a testimonial that this stem cell really works. Nygaard has reportedly been advocating for stem cell research in the Bahamas. A recent change in the law would allow medical centers to open there, though the country's attorney general denies Nygaard was involved in the drafting of the legislation, the Bahamas Weekly reported. Yeah, so. His hand's definitely in there. Most definitely. Most definitely. All right. And this is him. This is not Photoshop. This is not Hollywood makeup. This is him. What he looks like to you. Again, I'm just presenting the information. I'm just presenting the information. Peter Nygaard sentenced to 11 years for sexual assault. That just happened in September 2024. That just happened. Okay, continuing on. Said death. Former fashion mogul Peter Nygaard has been sentenced to 11 years for sexually assaulting 4 women in Toronto, Canada from the late 1980s to 2005. The 83-year-old was convicted last November by a jury after he denied the charges. Prosecutors sought a 15-year prison sentence for Nygaard, arguing that he displayed a pattern of behavior when he assaulted the women. His defense team argued for a sentence of less than 2 years, asking the judge to factor in his advanced age, declining health, and the time he has already spent behind bars. But I thought he was aging backwards. Thought he was aging backwards. And I think there's the last one on him. And we're going to go on to the next one. Hey, there's a higher judge. I don't really get too much into that, with earthly judgments because, again, and this is a man that this is his mindset. He's wired like this to think that he can achieve immortality through his riches. So that's not going to change. And even with his sentence now, there's favor being shown towards him as a billionaire, so there's only one judge, and you can't bribe him, and you can't talk your way out of it when it's time to get it. So it is what it is. So I'll leave that there for a second. Y'all can read that. And I'm going to get this next clip ready real fast. Let me get this next clip. Let me get it ready right here. One second. Okay.
Oh, it's in. Oh! Why are you doing bunny hops, Meek? Because you got your ass beat in tennis. You got your ass beat. Keep going. Count out loud. Count out loud.
30.
Can't, huh?
4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 41, 42.
Keep going. Keep going.
7, 8, 9, 1, 2.
Keep going. Keep going. Don't cheat on your bunny hops. They suck. Your bunny hops suck. You got 250 more to go. There.
Shout out to the channel for that. That clip, while some may think it's not a big deal, so you realize the company Michael Rubin, through his annual white party for A-list celebrities and athletes on July 4th. Rubin is the billionaire CEO of sports merchandise company Fanatics. He is also involved in charity, working with Meek Mill on the Criminal Justice Reform Alliance. Again, I just present the information. If you believe, praise God. If you don't, praise God, you have your liberty. Let's continue. Let's continue. See what your fave celebs, including Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, and Tom Brady, wore to the star-studded white party. Let's continue. Remember what we went through a couple of episodes back in regards to humiliation rituals. Humiliation rituals. Could have been a bet if you lose to me in this game of tennis, you owe me 50 push-ups or something like that. The bunny hop like a rabbit with it being a billionaire that you lost to. And you're hanging around this billionaire regularly. Humiliation rituals. And everybody wants to be around the money. Because the love of money is the root of all evil. Again, money is a defense. There's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with having money. Money is a defense, and money answers all things. It's a defense. You have money to be able to pay for food, clothing, shelter, to provide for your families and things of that nature. There's nothing wrong with that. The love of money is the root of all evil, which means that you'll go past a limit and do anything that it takes to get money. That's what the love of money is. You'll do the most craziest things for money. So I'll just let this sit, and you can read it, and you can see the source where it's gotten from. So you can see the company that's kept, and just go back to other videos prior. And see how the dots connect. Just a couple more on him. You have eyes, you see for yourself. I don't have to tell you to look and see. All roads lead to Rome. But then, as of recent, they are now canceled because of what's going on with if your parties are not like that, there wouldn't be a reason to cancel them. Just keep rocking out. You're not doing what he's doing. Right? If you're not doing those things, there should be no reason to pull the plug. Just keep rocking out. Then come up with, we didn't think it could get any bigger than it already is. It's ended on a high note. It's starting to get corny. We don't really want to do it no more. We just want to focus on charity now. That's it. Again, this is not a bash about money. You need money. You need money in this life to handle your responsibilities, to take care of your living, food, clothing, shelter, the basic needs of any human. You need money to be able to handle your responsibilities. It's a defense. It answers all things. The love of money is the root of all evil. Again, wanting way more than what you need. Just a constant increasing and increasing and increasing and doing anything to get it. Some people hear anything to get it and you think is just sexual. It's not. There's all kind of treachery that goes on. People betray each other, backstab each other, line people up. Abandon morals of loyalty, principles of loyalty. Cutthroat, backstab. To get to that bag and to keep getting that bag. Like the ultimate betrayer who loved money, that he betrayed the king, but he was lined up to do that. He was appointed to do that. Talking about Judas. So if you're not doing those things, you don't have to worry about nothing. If you believe, praise God. If you don't believe, praise God, you have your liberty. You have your freedom. You have your freedom. Something wrong with my camera.